Here's my next thing. Why am I not hearing anybody either? First off, it's really interesting we're not hearing from black people. And secondly, no one's talking about the race piece. What do you do about the race piece? Like, I'd really like to hear some white people throw that out. White people who all of our lives have been receiving affirmative action, reparations. We don't call it that, but it's reparations from having lost this slave system that worked really well for us. But then we set a system up where we would get reparations, meaning we would just keep like getting a disproportionate amount of money and keep getting wealthier. And God forbid black people should talk about reparations because, oh no, you can't talk about that. Reparations, that's like our domain, you know? So I'm just curious, I'm not hearing anybody go to the race piece in all of this either. That just seems like low-hanging fruit. Yes?
I was actually going to I was trying to get someone's attention before you said that,
cool.
But I think because the reason for the racial disparity in income is white people have had a head start. And so from slavery, racism,
Jim Crow
from the government, and therefore the government has contributed to this income disparity, and therefore they should have to fix it with subsidies or reparations, affirmative action, and that's the only way that we can.
Okay, so this is the idea of reparations. Has everyone heard this term, reparations? So black people make this argument to say, look, we've never gotten any reparations from slavery, right? Like you take everything, you take. You ensure that we stay on the bottom, the vast majority of black people in the United States, and then we're going to stay down here. And if you don't like us being down here, if you feel like, hey, black people really need to, like, it'd be better if you sort of integrated. So two things you can do. One is stop discriminating, and two, give us the reparations that if we would have had back right after slavery, if we really would have offered 40 acres and a mule to every black family, which is what was this kind of different ideas. That wasn't the only one, but that was just the one that we talk about. If we would have done that, black people would not be disproportionately poor in the United States. It would be a completely different world, but it is. But then we turn around and we're just like, oh yeah, fucking black people, yeah, I can't get it. Joe, just do the reparations thing. So people make the argument today. Well, then do the reparations today. Just do it today. And that's the universal basic income that somebody said, right? Like you could do it that way because it's also for poor white people and stuff, right? So yeah, all right. So you would say the reparations. White people begin at reparations. We don't call it that, but we get reparations. When we didn't give money to black people to build a level of equality, when we didn't give that money, we took all that money and that stayed in the white community. That's called reparations. It's not really, but it fucking is. We gave the South money to get the system back up and running again, to repair the system. And the way they did that was to re-enslave black people and create a situation and a condition called Reconstruction that was worse for black people than slavery was. And if you don't understand that, you just never read about it. The situation for black people was worse because, at least as a slave, in the United States, the average price of a slave in the U.S. in today's dollars is about $30,000 by the end of the Civil War. And $30,000, when you pay $30,000 for a slave, if I paid $30,000 for something today, like a car, trust me, I want to take care of it. And there were basic laws in every state about ways in which you could and could not treat your slaves because your slave was property, and the entire system depended on slave masters not being too violent. And so there were at least even some laws that you had to treat people with a decent level of respect. But after slavery, it's worth nothing. Black people were worth nothing. And so therefore we created a completely different system. It was so much worse. God.
I think another problem that we have is that a lot of people that's talking about the solutions are white, no offense. And
I know, that's what I'm saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're white, and I just feel like if we really want to make a change, we have to do it by buying black and investing into black businesses and buying back our neighborhoods Just
Black,
as for
just,
black
not just
people to
black
do.
or black and brown?
Black and brown.
All right.
Because there's Hispanic neighborhoods that should be better.
So you're saying that, okay, so hang on, let me be clear, and then you can keep going. So the idea is, look, if we have disproportionate numbers of people down here who are black and brown, one would be to, look, we have to, it's not just like reparations, right, so to speak, but it's targeted investment in communities that are where we predominantly see disproportionate numbers of black and brown people, and really, because people will pull themselves up by their own bootstraps when they have the opportunities, whether it's a patent like the brother in the front said, or whatever it is, or basic income, or whatever the case is. That's what.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I'm not saying that white people can't do anything, which you can, and you can use your privilege to do something about it. But also, black people, we have to invest in black businesses and buy back our neighborhoods in order to change things. Because if these white investors and these white people who have all this power keep investing into our neighborhoods and putting all these gentrification and all of these, like, I guess, like, what's fine wine and spirits, alcohol businesses or whatever.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. If they keep putting those things into the neighborhood, we will continue to stay low, because we will continue to have drugs and violence and people drinking themselves to death.
So I'm going to push back on what you're saying. This is a common thing that I hear from black people, which is cool, right? It's like, look, white people, if what she says in any way sounds like foreign, then you're not listening. This is the message I hear from black people in particular again and again and again. Okay? So that's fine. But it still puts the onus on black people. And so it's like, all right, but hang on. But once again, our Russian spy in the front row, she's the only one who said, no, you got to destroy the system and start over. Because we're still just working on it.
But the thing about destroying the system is that the black people, we're going to have to be the ones to destroy the system, because y'all don't speak up enough. Y'all don't speak up enough when another black kid dies. Y'all don't speak up enough when police is killing somebody. Y'all don't speak up enough. So it's always the black people talking about the problems. When we talk about diversity, when we talk about the things wrong with the government, it's always the black people in the room talking. It's never the white people in the room talking, if we're going to be honest. And I just feel like, personally, I don't know what can happen to change due to the fact that this has been, we have generational setbacks for all of minority communities that they will not be able to get out of, no matter what. I just feel like they won't be able to get out of, because the white man has put himself at a level that we cannot attain.
Okay. All right. So, and we know how that works because we watch. Are you going to go? Because we also watch how when black and brown people rise up the ladder, they do the same thing that other wealthy people do. Look, it is interesting that when we start talking about solutions, when I hear us talk about solutions, I'm like, oh yeah, these are things that black and brown people say all the time, and white people, like, we all pretend like we don't want to hear it or whatever. I'm like, come on, man. So y'all are in the same boat. Unless you're at the top, you're in the same boat.